Hey Sam, how's it going, man? It's me. How you doing in Thailand there? Hear you're real busy with all your college courses and whatnot. I should tell you a little bit about myself too. I'm going to college as well for welding, and my life has changed dramatically in the last 6 months. God's blessed me a lot, and I just want to tell you what He's done for me. Well, I always wondered, if God was real or not, and how do we really know? Because He doesn't perform, big miracles like He used to in the wilderness, but He's performed many miracles in my life, and the more I talk to others, He performs miracles in their life too, and I'm sure He could do the same for you. Anyways, I was 16 years old, and I was really depressed. Me and my girlfriend of 5 years had just broken up, and it was a nasty breakup. I didn't sleep for like 5 days. It was real hard. I was just really depressed and everything, and lonely. I just laid in my bed and all this stuff, and I was staying at a friend's house because me and her lived together, so I had to get out of there. I was staying at a friend's house, and it was like a meth shack. Like, they just smoked meth all the time, and it was horrible. I didn't want to be there. And that night I prayed to God. I said, "Dear Father in heaven, please help me, pull me out of this hole, because I'm stuck in it, and if you do, then I'll follow you, and I'll know that you're real, and if you do this for me." And I didn't sleep all that night, and I had to wake up at like 6 in the morning or something like that to go to this day labor place. You go down there at 6 a.m. and it's open from 6 to 9, and you might get work, you might not, and you go and you work manual labor for a day for $80 or whatever, 8-hour days, $10 an hour. And my alarm went off at 6 in the morning, and I hadn't gotten any sleep. I was up for 5 days, and another day of not sleep, and the little voice in my head told me, go back to sleep, you don't need to go to work, you haven't had any sleep, who can expect that from you? But I wanted to do this, I needed to pull myself out of that rut. So I got up and I put on my work clothes and I went outside, and it was blizzarding snow sideways, just blizzarding snow. And the little voice in my head told me, go back to your dad, see if he'll give you something to eat or something, it's snowing out. Who can expect you to do this, after you haven't slept and it's snowing? But I didn't. I walked myself down to the day labor place, and I went there and was there at 6 a.m. and I waited for 2 hours and 45 minutes. There's 15 minutes left until they closed, and I couldn't get any work. I've been waiting there, not getting paid nothing. And little voice in my head said, "Just go home. You've waited long enough." But I needed to pull myself out of this rut, because no one's going to do it for me, and I have to show that I'm willing and to help myself, And about 10 minutes later, this guy comes in and picks me to work for him, and I ended up working for him for the day. And before he dropped me off at home, he asked me if I wanted to come to Vancouver with him and work with him for a while as a test trial to see, if I would be a good employee for him. So I said, for sure, it's a lot better than waking up at 6 a.m. So the next day I was in Vancouver, staying at a real nice hotel, sitting in a hot tub after a day's work, feeling pretty good about myself. And ended up working with this guy for about 2 years, and he was a really good friend to me. He helped me buy my second vehicle. I can't say my first vehicle, but my second truck. And he helped me out with my Datsun loan stuff, and we're still good friends to this day. And that at that moment I knew that God had answered my prayers. I prayed. I had nothing, staying in a meth shack, had nothing at all, to being in Vancouver working a really good job. And I ended up staying with that guy for a long time, and I was part of the head of a crew and everything. And at first, I was so thankful to God. I prayed to Him every night, and I thank Him for everything He gave me. The smallest things. I thank Him for the bed I was sleeping in. I thank Him for the food that I was in. And it was so wonderful to me. But as I started making money and buying nice stuff for myself, and feeling more secure in my own job as being the boss and whatnot, that I started to forget God and all that He has done for me, and the great works that He's done for me. So I started thinking that it was by my own hand that all these things happened, but it didn't. And when that happened, everything came crashing down. I lost my job like that. I was back where I was started, and I actually got fired 3 or 4 times. It went like that. I either fired or quit. But I kept coming back because I didn't burn my bridges, and each time I came back I was so thankful to God, and I kept forgetting. And that's what the children of Israel did in the wilderness too, if you read the Bible at all. And so that's when I first knew God was real, but I wasn't ready to, or mature enough to follow his plan for me. I wanted to do what I wanted to do and have fun and go party. So anyways, after I left that company, I ended up meeting some people and getting caught up in a crowd, and I started selling drugs. I started selling coke and stuff like that, and it was bad. I did that for about a year and a half, and I thought it was all cool and flashy. I was driving around selling drugs, making thousands and thousands of dollars a week, spending thousands and thousands of dollars a week also. And I became really addicted to drugs and everything. And my dad one day asked me if I wanted to go down to the school and apply for some school, and I said, why not? Let's do it. I was living on my own at the time, but we were talking, and we went down, and I signed up for school. And it wasn't starting until the fall. It was the beginning of summer, so I had all summer. I was having fun and whatnot. And I was living in West Bank, and ended up losing my license, and college was starting, so I had to come back and live with my dad. And it really sobered me up and made me realize, what's really going on in my life and what's really going on around me, and and not being drunk or messed up and not being able to see that. And when I did get sober and I realized all these things that was happening, I got sober. It was a detox. And one day I just decided to go to church because I remembered God and how He helped me out that one time, and I made it one of my goals to get to know Him a little bit better again. And I went to the church, and the first day I was there, I met 10 new friends. They all came up to me and were super friendly. It's like a big family there at the church, and any church that I went to, they were really welcoming to me, and ended up getting involved in the church community, and it was nice. So I started going on Saturdays. I still had fun and whatnot. I just started out small and went to church, and ended up deciding to read the Bible myself and maybe give a sermon myself to the people. And as I started reading the Old Testament and about all the things that God's done for people and people as a nation and all of humanity, and how forgiving and lovable and kind He is, and how much blessings He has if you go with Him, you'll be taken care of. And I started reading, and it really hit home for me, and I started reading more and more, and I decided that I was ready to live my life the way God wanted me to live my life, because if we accept Jesus as our Savior and keep His commandments, that we will have everlasting life. Our life here on earth is such a short amount of time. We live 80 years, 90 years, compared to eternity, or thousands and thousands of years. That's like living 1 month. And if we can just prove ourselves to God that we love Him enough to keep His commandments, and to in general just be nice and loving to all people, that He'll take care of us. So after reading the Bible and reading it lots and meditating on it, I decided to make the commitment to give my life to God. And 2 weeks ago, I went and got baptized, and it was the happiest moment of my life. I was so happy, I was crying and everything, and I felt forgiven, and I felt like it was a new start for me. And I couldn't believe all the church community just. It was like a wave of friendliness and holiness on me. Like it was so awesome, and now I try to live my life every day to God. And even though I was selling drugs and making lots and lots of money and having fun, I wasn't happy, and not nearly as happy as I am now. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I hardly even watch TV anymore. And the joy I get though is from the communion with other Christians, and I get just overwhelming joy when I see all the works that God's done, like just a small little flower here. And I really want you to not shut yourself off completely to God, and to open yourself up, and so that He can talk to you and work His magical ways in your life, because if you do, He'll bless you exponentially. Anyways, I just want you to think about this. I'm going to send you the tape of my baptism also, and through my email and my phone number, and I hope that we can talk again soon, man. I hope that you're doing good in Thailand and everything. And I'm sorry we didn't get to hang out so much, but I was just so caught up in what I was doing that I didn't really have time for anybody, even God. But I hope that we can talk soon and maybe even see each other. So, see you, Sam.